So at this time, I'd like to introduce our speaker today, Susan Sparks, who is the owner of ASAP Writing Services, and she is going to share with us why every small business needs a media kit. So, Susan, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Let me share my screen here real quick. All right. So, as Ryan said, my name is Susan Sparks, and I'm just going to give you some tips today on why you should have a media kit if you are a business owner. And it's really priceless publicity. So, we're going to talk about the high vis, high trust way to promote your business. My name is Susan Sparks. My company is ASAP Writing Services. I've been had my company now for about 11 years, but my background includes journalism. I was a newspaper reporter, also assignment editor, a managing editor, and then I did a stint on radio as well, and then also public affairs as a contractor to the Navy. So a lot of times I was the person who determined what was news and what was not. And so we're going to talk about why that's important in just a moment. And so when we think of marketing right now, we think the only place we really need to be is online, on social media. And after all, doesn't cost us anything. We can post and tweet and TikTok all day long. So it must be a great way to do it. But that's not really always the case. There's other places that we can be, and we often overlook it. In fact, Terry seems to think newspapers are going away in 10 years. That's hard to take. It kind of gets me right here since that's where I started, but there's still thousands of outlets that need content and they need it every day. So the opportunities in mainstream media, such as TV, radio, and print, and then there's also still a lot of organizations, right now they're meeting virtually, but conferences, associations, groups such as this networking opportunity, chambers, I mean, there's all kinds of opportunity out there. And sometimes we just have those social media blinders on and forget that that's a possibility. And part of the problem too is a lot of what we thought used to be free opportunities, such as guest blogging or being a guest on someone's podcast or their broadcast or whatever that might be, is a lot of those are shifting now to a pay to play kind of model where you're paying to be on there. So, it makes sense. You're getting access to their list, but if you don't have to pay for it, why not? So just a couple stats that I pulled off. There are still over 1,700 commercial TV stations this is just the US alone, 15,000 radio stations on the air. And even though we think a lot of us are listening to Audible and podcasts, the average listener is on about 12 hours a week. So that's a lot of opportunity. And there are still over 1,200 daily newspapers. That's not counting little weekly publications or ones that are just kind of dialed back to 2 or 3 times a week. So virtually there's all kinds of opportunity still out there. As far as appearances on conferences and different things, there's more opportunity than ever. We've all kind of adjusted to this idea of meeting by Zoom, and that's ideal because now there's no cost for travel, and it expands your reach as well because now virtually there's no geographic limits. And the technology is easy. Everybody's either on their phone or on their laptop, on their tablet, listening in. So we've got even more access to an audience. So being in mainstream media does a couple things for you. So you can't beat it for visibility. If you're going to spend money for a TV ad, a minute is going to probably be cost prohibitive for most of us, as opposed to a 60 to 90 to 2 minute interview segment on a TV broadcast or on the radio. It really establishes you as someone that's trustworthy. You're out giving relevant information. You're being that expert, that subject matter expert to lend either details or educate the audience on a particular topic. And so you benefit, obviously, you are going to reach new prospects, and then you can repurpose this as your own marketing material. It's going to be professionally produced marketing material that you can then in turn use and most likely leverage that for other opportunities to be on other broadcasts or in other articles, and ultimately get you some new customers. And just to prove my point, if Tom Sullivan can be on Channel 13 talking about toilets, there is absolutely no business that can't be that subject matter expert on something. So the key is to tie it into some current events. You could be that weekly expert, that commentator on something that's going on. You know, there's seasonal opportunities all the time, how things change. So as Kim had said, they're getting out of the cleanup for, or not Kim, I'm sorry, Kristen, you're done with winter kind of cleanup. Certainly you could be on talking about how to prepare your home for spring, or where to haul the trash that, you know, accumulated over the winter. There's just all kinds of ways to tie it into what's going on. Even if it's not a newsworthy event, you can always make an event that would go with that. If you have a book you want to promote, there's ways to get out and spread the word on that. Promote special events. Maybe your company's sponsoring a shred day or something like that. But the biggest thing is we need to be prepared, because there's nothing worse than sitting around watching the news and maybe a law is passed or there's an event that pops up that you would have a perfect tie-in for. And then it's like, well, they should do me. But did you have your pitch letter ready to go or a biography? Chances are you didn't. So now's a perfect time to prepare all that, and then you can tweak it depending on what current event or situation crops up, and you can get that sent off. So let's talk about what a media kit does. And the number one job is to make the interviewer, the reporter, the news producer's job as easy as possible. So as I said before, my background is in journalism, and as an editor, I can remember how thankful I was to receive a story idea. Either somebody would call or mail in something. You know, it serves a great purpose because it makes sure that we're covering what's going on with the people in our community. It adds that element of unbiased reporting, because now we're going outside experts. And it really, you know, you can't keep your finger on everything. So the local radio DJ probably doesn't even remember that you have a business. So it's your job to promote yourself to them. And again, it positions you as that subject matter expert, building that visibility, the credibility, and ultimately trust. So it's important you are there as a helpful resource. So this is really what falls under the heading of content marketing. You're not there to sell. You're going to have an opportunity maybe at the very end to you know, add your website or how to contact you, but you're being that helpful resource. You're educating your market. You know, even if it's 5 ways to spend less money on a mattress, right? It's something we want to know. As consumers, we don't want to be taken advantage of. We don't want to appear naive or out of the loop. So the more we can be educated, the more comfortable we're going to be when it comes time to actually do make a purchase. So it's just some of the basic items that your media kit should include, and I'll go into these a little bit deeper. The cover letter, or actually a pitch letter, a biography, a boilerplate and introduction, some suggested interview questions, and either some tips or testimonials to kind of back up what your material is. And then depending on what else you're doing, you might be promoting, again, a book or a workshop or that type of thing. If you want some other audiences like educational groups and such, you can add your speaking topics. And if you do promote a book, then a short synopsis or overview of the book is something also to include, but we're going to stick with just the basic items today. And so the pitch letter is really this, and it's to a company, whether you're sending the entire kit or you just want to first make that contact with the producer or the editor or the meeting professional. And you want to think in terms of headlines. This is not, hey, I know all about banking. I've been in banking for 25 years and I could be on your show. That's not what they care about. They get those all the time. And it's not, they're not the one that needs to come up with the story idea. So again, think in terms of headlines. Maybe there's a new statistic out on maybe restaurants are going away in 10 years. So, and you could be that person that could speak to how the trend is changing, or again, just being an advocate for helping customers make better buying decisions. So any way that you can think in terms of a headline is what you want to lead with. You want to have that headline, that key takeaway right at the very start. You'll still introduce yourself. That's what the rest of the material is for. But right now you want to plant the idea of why this story is important and invite them to read the rest of your media kit. I would also say, don't just send an email, but send a packet in the mail. We all get buried in email and things don't get read. So make sure you send a snail mail copy, hard copy as well, so that they have their hands on it. It's going to get passed around. It may not end up on that producer's desk. It's not great for the morning show, but we want it for noon. Here you go. Here's somebody that can speak to that topic. So always think in terms of headlines. This is not all about you and how great you are. The biography, again, is not a resume. You don't want to lead with, gee, I've been in business for 25 years, or that kind of thing. I've got a top sales award, or I'm passionate about X, Y, and Z. Again, we're shifting this so that the reader finds out what the benefit about you is about. So how can you speak to that topic? Okay, so don't make it sound like an obituary that, kind of thing. Don't need to know how long you've been married or how many kids you have, unless you've got 12 kids and you're there to talk about parenting. Okay, so make sure that it's relevant. And again, your about or your biography is a subtle sales letter. You're selling yourself. You're not just reciting all these facts about you that I'm supposed to just read and be sort of impressed by. I may not care how many years you've been in business. Okay, so make sure that we're thinking in terms of the recipient so that they can get to the meat of the matter of why they want you as a guest. Also include an introduction or your boilerplate. So it's really just a sentence or two. And again, you can kind of lead with something other than, hi, my name is. You may be an expert home remodeler. So, locally, hey, the governor's mansion that's been redone on Meridian Street was done by Frank Mustard of Mike's Home Remodeling, kind of thing. Again, these appear either at the end of a news article or as they're promoting you either on a news program or that sort of thing. So write up a very good one, because again, these editors and news producers and such, they're busy. They don't want to, the less work they have to do to get you on the air with them, the better. So do as much as you can for them. It shows that you're professional. It shows that you know what you're talking about, and it helps them do their job easier. Include a professional headshot, okay? One that jives with your branding. So obviously Tim Ferriss gets away with a t-shirt because he's the 4-hour work week. But if you are a buttoned up attorney and you have a picture of you in a flannel shirt and a pair of coveralls, may not be as good. So we all know better. Don't get lazy. Have a professional headshot that you want to include. And that could be on your website where they could download it, or a link in your media kit for that. Now, if you're talking to specific audiences, special audiences, education groups, or if you're going out speaking to, say, college kids, a fraternity or a class or that kind of thing, they're going to want to know learning outcomes. So you need to be specific as to what that would be. I think I've got one out of order. Yeah. But anyway, it would be what those key takeaways are. If you're the financial planner, your presentation will at least show that students will learn how to balance their checkbook and read a credit report and read a rental contract. And really, you don't have to get too deep in the weeds with that, but they want those specific metrics so that they can justify having you speak to the group. But this is where, if you have more than one topic, that you can create a topic sheet. And this is where you would include who your ideal audience is for, the key points, again, that you were going to talk about. Now, I will back up just a second. In your pitch letter, to be on the air, you don't want to flood them with, hey, I can talk to you about these 3 things. That's not what you're leading with. You still need to lead with that one main idea, that one headline. But this is certainly something, especially if you've got content that you've prepared for other options, just to include that with your kit, because then they can kind of get thinking. They may not need you right this minute for how to, claim roof damage on your house, but maybe, in another month when they're doing a special on smoke alarms or whatever, you might be that home remodeling expert that they want to talk to. So don't be shy. If you've got those other topics, just don't lead with that. You want to just have that one main idea to get their attention so that they're interested in having you on. And then you can also do what's called a one sheet. So if you have several presentations, that type of thing, you can scale it down to 1 page. It's got everything on it. It's got your picture. It's got an about you. It's got your speaking topics. But again, I would not send this without a pitch letter. If you're just sending this, they're going to go, why did I get this? You want that letter to lead off with what topic you want to speak to and why you'd be a good choice. Now, one of the things that happen sometimes, and what turns very awkward, is if an interview goes off the rails a little bit and maybe you get thrown a question you weren't prepared for, or for a lot of times in a program, the reporter or the person that's going to be interviewing you live on the air has just finished talking about another subject totally unrelated. They turn around, now they've got you to talk to. Maybe they didn't have a chance to review who you were again, and you don't want to lose all the energy of this potential great interview by, so tell us about your business, right? So having some sample questions or suggested questions helps you kind of stay in control of that interview. That way you can dive right into the matter. You can, again, you're presenting your information just like you would any other news article. So back in the old days of Journalism 101, your lead is the absolute most important. And as things went down further, if something had to be cut, it wasn't the critical information. So you want to kind of structure your suggested questions that way too, is to really get that main point out there right off the top of the bat. And then I would also suggest that one of the last questions is, where can listeners or viewers find more about your business, or how do they contact you? And that's your little chance then to get your plug-in to sell. If you don't have a lot of testimonials, you can provide a tip sheet. And again, these are probably your 5 to 7 top talking points. This helps, especially if they're promoting you later on, gives them headline ideas that, tomorrow's guest will be so-and-so, and they're going to be speaking about this. Now they've got other copy that they can draw from. Again, this is your kind of subtle way to control what it is. They may think you do X, Y, and Z when you really don't do Z. So this is just another way to educate that reporter, that producer, that editor, where your niche is and what your specialty is and what you'll be speaking to. So a tip sheet is always a great thing to include. And then if you do have links to even just a YouTube video or that type of thing, so that they can at least see who you are and get an idea of a feel of how you might appear on camera. You might just be a phone interview if not type of thing, or a written piece. But this, again, just helps establish some credibility with that media outlet that you would be a good guest. And then again, think of ways that you can tie in your business. If you've got a new product that you're releasing, or you've got an event, maybe your company's reached a milestone, you're within the community that they cover. Maybe you had an employee be awarded for something. These are all ways that you can get your business name in front of a huge audience, and it doesn't cost you any ad spend at all. So those are the basic components. Again, doing this is a great exercise in just helping you kind of fine tune your marketing altogether. What's your expertise? What can you talk about? What are the things that your clientele is interested in most? Think about misconceptions about your industry or your business that people have that you can now use a media appearance to kind of straighten that out type of thing. So there's all kinds of ways you can benefit from this. And then the beauty of this is you may have a nicely published article, you'll have a video clip or maybe an audio clip, and now you can turn around and use that for your marketing. You can repurpose that all kinds of ways. You make sure that you thank the interviewer, tag them in a post, share the link, send it to your list. Maybe get a screenshot of you being on camera and create a post from that. Have it transcribed if it's an audio file, have it transcribed into a short article or report. So there's all kinds of ways to get even more mileage out of that. And you're not spending excessive amounts of money on an ad that gets run a time or two and people don't pay attention to. So that's a quick look at doing a media kit. I've got templates and a lot of other checklists and such that is included in a bundle. I am offering the training, the worksheets, and a longer version of the video training on my website, excuse me, for $39. And then I also do done for you media kits where I would create your pitch letter, your biography, an intro, a tip sheet, and testimonials. And that is currently on special as well at $3.95. So I'm be happy to answer any questions. If anybody has any?
Susan, I have one for you.
Sure.
So you mentioned that company milestones being a timely reason to send out a press release. What are some of the milestones that you've seen that media outlets are particularly interested in?
So a lot of that are very community based is, especially if you've been perhaps a brick and mortar store in a community for years, that just kind of helps to demonstrate the longevity, the life of the community, the viability of the community. So any way that you can tie in another promotion of not only you, but your customer base or how the community has supported you or that type of thing is one of those more positive types of features that media outlets like to cover. They don't all want to do doom and gloom news. So whenever you can send them a good news story, it's certainly something that they would appreciate.
Awesome. Thank you. Does anyone else have questions for Susan?
Susan, I just want to say this was a great presentation. By coincidence, I am trying to put together our media package, so
oh, awesome.
I might actually look into your training worksheet examples.
Great. Well, I'd be glad to help you out. So
awesome. Yeah, my contact info is in there. I probably will reach out to you. It's good stuff.
Cool. All right. Sounds good.
Now, Susan, what was the specials again you were offering? I'm sorry, I'm dealing with my dog barking.
Oh, well, I have the template training there for $39 where you could do it yourself, or I do a done for you package where I would write your pitch letter, your biography, intro, and the tip sheet and testimonials in a package for you. And that's $390 for right now. That's usually a $750 package.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Great presentation.
Thank you. I'll put that link for the other in the chat box here if I can. I don't think I see it. There we go.
Awesome.
I do have another question if I could ask one real quick.
Sure.
Susan, me being new here in this city, I don't know where the TV stations are. I don't know what TV stations are really actually on here. What would you suggest a newcomer do to get their name out in a new city?
Well, there are several online sources that you can put a press release out that you've relocated your coaching business. I do have a lot of links in my my book that goes with this bundle that's got links to all the radio stations and TV station contacts. You can look on LinkedIn for TV stations or radio stations in your area. Look under media groups because not too many are just small town single standing entities anymore. They're usually owned by a larger chain. So you can look through that and then just narrow down for who might be in your immediate market. And again, virtually you can just kind of go as big of a scope as you want with that.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Does anyone have any other questions for Susan? All right, well, let's give Susan a hand for her presentation today.
Thank you.